They were our TV family for 9 years, but behind the scenes, life was moving in unexpected directions. Today we're revisiting the legendary cast to see who found fame, who faced tragedy, and which star is now completely unrecognizable. Are you ready for the truth? Sean Penn is Kid. Born on August 17, 1960 in Santa Monica, California, the future Hollywood heavyweight first stepped in front of the camera on the beloved historical drama Little House on the Prairie. At the age of 14, Penn's portrayal of a pioneer youth, simply credited as Kid, offered a fleeting glimpse into the wholesome, family-centric world of the 19th century American Midwest. Though he was merely an uncredited extra in the 1974 episode The Voice of Tinker Jones, directed by his father Leo Penn, his participation contributed to a show that became a massive cultural touchstone beloved by millions for its depiction of family resilience and pioneer struggles. Despite the character's innocent, unassuming, and silent background nature, Sean Penn's real-life personality was intensely passionate, brooding and rebellious, the polar opposite of a docile pioneer child. This striking contrast would define his artistic journey as he actively sought out challenging, gritty roles that shattered any wholesome television image. His career was also marked by the struggle of being typecast early on. After his breakout comedic role as the stoner Jeff Spicoli in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, 1982, he found it difficult for a period to secure dramatic work and convince critics to take him seriously. Additionally, Penn faced professional hardships and a deep dissatisfaction with the Hollywood machine, which led him to temporarily step away from acting in the early 1990s because he found the industry environment stifling. Sean Penn ultimately overcame these hurdles to forge a legendary career, establishing himself as a powerhouse dramatic actor and a dedicated humanitarian. His personal life has frequently made headlines marked by high-profile marriages and divorces from Madonna Robin Wright and Layla George, along with his extensive global philanthropic efforts. At 65, he remains a prominent, active, and highly respected figure in the film industry, a far cry from his sweltering early days as an unnamed extra on the Prairie. Shannen Doherty as Jenny Wilder. Born on April 12, 1971 in Memphis, Tennessee, Shannen Doherty entered the iconic world of Walnut Grove during the show's later years. At the age of 11, Doherty took on the role of Jenny Wilder, the sweet-spirited and resilient niece of Almanzo and Laura Ingalls Wilder. Her portrayal breathed new youth into the beloved frontier drama, capturing the innocence required to survive the 19th century Prairie. Her addition to the cast was widely embraced by audiences, allowing the cultural phenomenon of Little House on the Prairie to successfully bridge its legacy into its final season and subsequent made-for-television movies. The contrast between the innocent, wholesome prairie girl she played and her later public persona was stark. While Jenny Wilder was a picture of obedience and pioneer virtue, Doherty grew up to cultivate a fierce, unapologetic, and highly scrutinized reputation in Hollywood. She famously clashed with co-stars and producers on massive hit shows like Beverly Hills 90210 and Charmed, leading to highly publicized premature departures from both series. Throughout her career, she battled relentless tabloid coverage and a bad girl label that occasionally overshadowed her undeniable acting talents, creating periods where industry friction and burned bridges made it challenging to navigate a smooth professional trajectory. In her later years, Doherty stepped away from her controversial image to become a profound symbol of strength, vulnerability, and transparency. She openly documented her grueling battle with breast cancer, which was first diagnosed in 2015, went into remission, and tragically returned as stage 4 in 2019. Despite the immense physical toll, she continued to act in reboots and television films and launched a deeply personal podcast, Let's Be Clear, where she candidly discussed her career regrets and mortality. Doherty passed away on July 13, 2024, at the age of 53 from breast cancer. In a heartbreaking final act of personal closure, she finalized a highly contentious divorce settlement just one day before her death. Jason Bateman as James Cooper Ingalls. Born on January 14, 1969, the Rye, New York native made his television debut by stepping onto the dusty sets of Walnut Grove. At the age of 12, Bateman's portrayal of the earnest, orphaned boy who is eventually adopted by Charles and Caroline Ingalls brought fresh emotional weight to the later seasons of Little House on the Prairie. His performance introduced deeply touching storylines about grief adoption and family devotion, culminating in a dramatic narrative where James is shot and miraculously healed, making his character a memorable addition to the iconic series' beloved ensemble. The contrast between the innocent, fragile prairie boy he played and the actor's true sensibilities is stark. While James Cooper Ingalls was famously earnest and completely devoid of irony, Bateman is known in his real life and adult career for a famously dry, cynical, and sarcastic wit. Professionally, his journey from a wholesome child star to a working adult actor was fraught with struggle. After riding a wave of teen idol success on shows like Silver Spoons and The Hogan Family, Bateman faced severe hardships in the 1990s. He struggled to find steady work as he was typecast as a former teen star, leading to a frustrating period of failed pilots and quickly canceled television series. During this extended career lull, he also battled alcohol and drug addiction, a personal hardship that nearly derailed his life before he eventually got sober and rebuilt his career. Following these difficult years, Bateman experienced a monumental career resurgence in 2003 with his critically acclaimed role as Michael Bluth in the comedy series Arrested Development. Off-screen, he married Amanda Anka in 2001, with whom he shares 2 daughters, and launched the massively popular Smartless podcast alongside Will Arnett and Sean Hayes. At 57, he stands as one of the entertainment industry's most successful and respected leading men and filmmakers, having completely transcended his child star beginnings. Michael Landon as Charles Ingalls. Born Eugene Maurice Orowitz on October 31, 1936, in the Forest Hills neighborhood of Queens, New York, the actor first gained fame on Bonanza before defining a generation of fatherhood on Little House on the Prairie. At the age of 37, Landon's portrayal of the hard-working, deeply moral, and loving patriarch Charles "Pa" Ingalls became a cultural touchstone. Offering a prime-time depiction of pioneer resilience and family devotion, his performance resonated profoundly with audiences. For 9 seasons, his earnest guidance, emotional depth, and rugged charm defined a character that remains one of television's most iconic and beloved fathers. Despite the character's flawless, endlessly patient, and wholesome nature, Michael Landon was a complex man whose real life sharply contrasted with his squeaky-clean television persona. While Charles Ingalls was the ultimate devoted family man, Landon's personal life was occasionally fraught with turmoil, most notably when his highly publicized affair with a young makeup clerk on the set shattered his public image and led to the end of his second marriage. Professionally, Landon was intensely ambitious and demanding, often clashing with network executives to maintain strict creative control over his projects. The end of Little House on the Prairie brought a particular professional sting. Infuriated by the network's abrupt handling of the show's cancellation, a bitter Landon famously chose to blow up the beloved town sets of Walnut Grove in the series finale, ensuring no other production could ever use them. Michael Landon continued to find immense success in television, most notably creating, producing, and starring as an angelic drifter in the hit series Highway to Heaven, which ran from 1984 to 1989. However, his life was tragically cut short just as he was embarking on his next major television project, the pilot for a new CBS series called Us. Landon passed away at his home in Malibu, California on July 1, 1991, at the age of 54 from an aggressive form of pancreatic cancer. His premature death shocked the world and led to a massive outpouring of grief from millions of fans and former co-stars, with his memorial service drawing widespread media attention and cementing his legacy as a titan of classic American television. Melissa Gilbert as Laura Ingalls. Born on May 8, 1964, in Los Angeles, California, Melissa Gilbert first captured audiences' hearts in the beloved television adaptation of Laura Ingalls Wilder's classic books. At the age of 9, Gilbert's portrayal of the spirited and tomboyish half-pint Laura Ingalls became a cultural touchstone, offering a prime-time depiction of pioneer resilience, family values, and frontier life that was both heartwarming and deeply significant. For 9 seasons, her heartfelt acting and relatable coming-of-age journey defined a character that remains one of television's most iconic and cherished figures. Despite the character's famously wholesome and idyllic pioneer life, Melissa Gilbert's reality growing up in the Hollywood spotlight was markedly different. This contrast became a significant part of her personal journey. While Laura Ingalls was innocent and grounded by a steady family life on the prairie, Gilbert struggled with the immense pressures of childhood fame, later battling alcoholism and substance abuse as she navigated adulthood. Her career was also marked by the struggle of being typecast, which for a period made it difficult for her to find mature, varied work after the beloved show's long run. She often felt boxed into the image of the perfect pioneer girl, facing professional hurdles and intense financial hardships, including highly publicized tax struggles, as she attempted to shed her child star persona and reinvent herself. Melissa Gilbert continued to act in television and film, carving out a niche as the queen of the television movie, and later competing on the reality series Dancing with the Stars. She also took on powerful leadership roles within the industry, notably serving 2 terms as the president of the Screen Actors Guild. In her later years, she found profound peace by leaving the Hollywood grind behind to embrace a lifestyle ironically reminiscent of her famous character, settling into a rustic, restored cabin in the Catskills of upstate New York with her husband, actor Timothy Busfield, and launching a lifestyle brand called Modern Prairie. At 61, she is happily enjoying her life as an author, entrepreneur, and grandmother, successfully trading the intense pressures of show business for a quiet, fulfilling existence centered around nature, community, and family. Kyle Richards as Alicia Edwards. Born on January 11, 1969 in Hollywood, California, the young actress stepped into television history on the beloved Western drama Little House on the Prairie. At the age of 6, Richards's portrayal of Alicia Edwards, the sweet and resilient adopted daughter of Isaiah and Grace Edwards, quickly captured the hearts of audiences. Her character offered a heartwarming depiction of frontier survival and the beautiful reality of chosen family, becoming a memorable part of the hit 1800s historical drama. For several seasons, her touching performance highlighted themes of pioneer innocence and hope, contributing significantly to a series that remains one of television's most cherished and culturally impactful family shows. Despite playing a quiet, modest, and sheltered pioneer child living a rustic life, Kyle Richards's real life was the polar opposite. Born into an affluent and prominent family, she grew up surrounded by the glamorous, fast-paced world of Los Angeles socialites. While she found early success transitioning from a celebrated child star to a mature adult actress brought significant professional hardships. Richards faced the classic struggle of being typecast as a little girl, which made it incredibly difficult for her to find substantial acting work as she grew older. As the roles dried up and her early projects came to an end, this career stagnation became a frustrating hurdle, prompting her to take a step back from the industry to navigate her early adult life before eventually reinventing her career. Kyle Richards ultimately found massive success outside of traditional scripted acting, transforming into a reality television powerhouse. She became a founding cast member of Bravo's The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills in 2010 and remains the franchise's longest-running star. In her personal life, Richards is a mother of 4 daughters and has navigated intense public scrutiny following her 2023 separation from her husband of 27 years, Mauricio Umansky. As of 2026, at the age of 57, she continues to be a dominant force in entertainment and a prominent Hollywood figure, successfully commanding the spotlight decades after her days on the prairie. Madeleine Stowe as Annie Crane. Born on August 18, 1958 in Los Angeles, California, the ethereal actress made one of her earliest notable television appearances in the beloved pioneer drama. At the age of 22, Stowe's portrayal of the talented blind painter Annie Crane brought a poignant and emotional depth to the series, leaving a lasting impression on viewers. Her nuanced performance as a young woman struggling with deep-seated feelings of abandonment before finally reconciling with her biological mother stood out as a memorable cultural moment in the show's 7th season. It served as a powerful early indicator of the intense and emotionally complex performances that would eventually define her cinematic career. Despite her character's deep-seated bitterness and confrontational nature on the show, Madeleine Stowe was known in real life as a fiercely private, gentle, and somewhat shy individual who had originally aspired to be a concert pianist until the death of her instructor. This contrast highlighted her natural acting ability, as she had to dig deep to portray Annie's raw anger and resentment. Professionally, Stowe faced significant hurdles over the years. As she transitioned into feature films, she initially struggled with being typecast as the swooning or fragile love interest to high-profile male leads. After achieving massive critical success in the 1990s with hits like The Last of the Mohicans and 12 Monkeys, she endured a difficult period marked by box office flops and a shifting Hollywood landscape. Finding it increasingly difficult to secure compelling leading roles, she ultimately took a prolonged hiatus from acting in the early 2000s to retreat from the industry and focus on her family. She has been married to actor Brian Benben since 1982, and the couple shares a daughter, May. Continuing her preference for a life removed from the relentless glare of Hollywood, she has spent much of her downtime living quietly on her working ranch in Texas and engaging in philanthropic work, including helping to found the charity Artists for Peace and Justice. As of 2026, at the age of 67, Stowe remains a highly respected and versatile figure in the entertainment industry, gracefully balancing her intensely private lifestyle with carefully chosen screen appearances. Todd Bridges as Solomon Henry. Born on May 27, 1965 in San Francisco, California, the young actor made one of his earliest and most memorable television appearances on Little House on the Prairie in 1977. At the age of 11, Bridges' portrayal of Solomon Henry, an earnest runaway boy who offers to sell himself to the Ingalls family in exchange for an education, became a profound television moment. His character's poignant delivery of the question, "Would you rather be black and live to be 100 or white and live to be 50, left a lasting cultural impact, delivering a striking commentary on race and equality that resonated deeply with audiences of the era. While Solomon Henry was a picture of earnest innocence, quiet wisdom, and unwavering determination, Todd Bridges' real-life personality as a young adult became overshadowed by deep inner turmoil and public struggles. The immense fame he later found as Willis Jackson on Different Strokes became a double-edged sword. He was heavily typecast by his iconic catchphrase, making it incredibly difficult for him to find meaningful acting work as an adult. The eventual cancellation of the show after an 8-season run left him facing a harsh professional void. Without the steady structure of television work, Bridges spiraled into a dark period characterized by severe drug addiction, high-profile legal battles, and several arrests, standing in stark contrast to the grounded, wholesome characters that had originally made him famous. Todd Bridges eventually overcame his demons, achieving lasting sobriety in 1993, and slowly rebuilding his personal life and career. As of 2026, at the age of 60, he remains an active figure in the entertainment community, continuing to act and frequently appearing at fan conventions, including historic Little House on the Prairie cast reunions. Today, Bridges holds the distinction of being the last surviving original main cast member of Different Strokes, serving as a testament to resilience and the ability to navigate the treacherous path from a troubled child star to a surviving television icon. Melissa Sue Anderson as Mary Ingalls. Born on September 26, 1962 in Berkeley, California, the young actress began her career in television commercials before landing her career-defining role on Little House on the Prairie in 1974. At the age of 11, Anderson's portrayal of the sweet, well-behaved eldest Ingalls' daughter captivated audiences, particularly as her character navigated a heartbreaking journey into blindness during the show's 4th season. Her groundbreaking and emotional performance earned her a Primetime Emmy Award nomination, solidifying Mary Ingalls as a cultural touchstone and an enduring symbol of resilience, faith, and pioneer fortitude in American television history. While Mary Ingalls was depicted as the ideal, compliant pioneer girl who bravely endured endless television tragedies, Anderson was fiercely private, reserved, and described by her peers on set as somewhat aloof, maintaining a starkly different and more distant dynamic than the tight-knit family portrayed on screen. Her professional journey was fraught with the unique challenges of child stardom and the heavy burden of typecasting. Playing a blind character for several seasons severely limited her on-screen mobility and acting interactions, causing deep frustration with the increasingly tragic and restrictive storylines, which ultimately led her to step away from the hit series before its conclusion. Following her departure, she found it difficult to shed the wholesome good girl image that had defined her youth, struggling for years to secure mature leading roles in a Hollywood industry that predominantly viewed her as the blind girl from Walnut Grove. In 1990, she married television writer and producer Michael Sloan, with whom she shares 2 children, and the family relocated to Montreal, Canada in 2002, officially becoming Canadian citizens in 2007. She chronicled her acting experiences in her 2010 memoir, The Way I See It, a look back at my life on Little House, offering a candid glimpse into her complex child acting days. As of 2026, at the age of 63, Anderson leads a quiet, private life away from the Hollywood spotlight, occasionally returning to the screen for minor roles while happily embracing her life as a devoted mother and resident of her adopted northern home. Alison Arngrim as Nellie Olsen, born on January 18, 1962 in New York City. New York, the actress stepped into her legendary role on Little House on the Prairie when the series premiered in 1974. At the age of 12, Arngrim's portrayal of the spoiled, manipulative, and golden ringleted nemesis of Laura Ingalls became a massive cultural touchstone. Her character set the gold standard for television mean girls and brought immense success to the show, captivating audiences with a villainous presence that perfectly counterbalanced the wholesome nature of the hit Pioneer series. Despite the character's cruel, haughty, and demanding nature, Alison Arngrim was actually a shy, sensitive child who had experienced significant trauma and bullying in her own life, making her the polar opposite of Nellie Olsen. This stark contrast was a significant part of her personal journey. Fans often struggled to separate the actress from her venomous character, sometimes verbally lashing out at her or even throwing objects at her in public. Her career was profoundly marked by the struggle of being heavily typecast, making it incredibly difficult for her to land diverse roles or secure consistent acting work in mainstream television and film once her time on the Prairie came to an end. Alison Arngrim ultimately embraced her legacy, rather than running from it, transitioning to a successful career as a stand-up comedian and author. She famously penned the humorous, best-selling memoir, Confessions of a Prairie Bitch: How I Survived Nellie Olsen and Learned to Love Being Hated. Following the tragic AIDS-related death of her close friend and on-screen husband, Steve Tracy, she also became a dedicated and passionate AIDS activist. As of 2026, at the age of 64, she continues to perform live comedy and one-woman shows, frequently participates in Little House fan conventions, and enjoys her personal life alongside her husband, Robert Paul Schoonover, whom she married in 1993. Karl Swenson as Lars Hansen. Born on July 23, 1908 in Brooklyn, New York, the versatile actor joined the cast of Little House on the Prairie in 1974. At the age of 65, Swenson's portrayal of the wise, kind-hearted founder of Walnut Grove and owner of the local lumber mill resonated deeply with viewers. Lars Hansen became a foundational pillar of the beloved series, serving as a steadfast town elder whose enduring wisdom, compassionate mentorship, and deep community ties perfectly captured the quintessential pioneer spirit and offered a prime-time depiction of frontier resilience that was both comforting and significant. Despite his on-screen persona as a rugged rustic frontiersman and small-town pioneer, Karl Swenson was in reality a refined, highly educated intellectual of Swedish descent who had initially studied pre-medicine at Marietta College. This contrast marked much of his later career. While he was a sophisticated Broadway stage veteran and a prolific, versatile leading man during the golden age of radio, he found the transition to live-action television challenging due to his grandfatherly appearance. His television career was strongly marked by the struggle of being typecast, which confined him almost exclusively to playing elderly grandfathers, frontier doctors, or weathered Western townsfolk. This typecasting made it difficult for him to find diverse, dynamic work outside of the Western genre, ultimately limiting his on-screen opportunities as the entertainment industry shifted towards youth-driven programming. Karl Swenson continued to act steadily in television and film, famously providing the voice of Merlin in Disney's The Sword in the Stone, and enjoyed a quiet personal life alongside his second wife, actress Joan Tompkins, and his 4 sons from a previous marriage. Sadly, his time on Little House on the Prairie came to a sudden and tragic end. Swenson passed away from a heart attack at a hospital in Torrington, Connecticut, on October 8, 1978, at the age of 70. His death was followed by a deeply emotional and poignant aftermath. He died just days after filming his final appearance on the show, an episode in which his character, Lars Hansen, also passes away. Ketty Lester as Hester Sue Terhune. Born Revoida Frierson on August 16, 1934, in Hope, Arkansas, the talented singer and actress joined the cast of Little House on the Prairie during its 5th season in 1978. At the age of 44, Lester's portrayal of Hester Sue Terhune, a dedicated and compassionate teacher at the School for the Blind, became a cultural touchstone. Offering a prime-time depiction of a strong, independent black woman in a post-Civil War historical setting, her character brought vital diversity to the beloved series. For 5 seasons, her warmth, resilience, and memorable storylines, including confronting the racial prejudices of characters like Harriet Olsen, defined a role that remains a fan favorite and a significant figure in classic television. While Hester Sue was a steadfast, grounded pioneer woman who easily navigated the rural hardships of Walnut Grove, Ketty Lester's real-life persona was rooted in the glamorous but demanding world of music and cabaret. This contrast was a significant part of her journey. She was deeply private about her past and battled severe stage fright throughout her career, a stark departure from her character's confident and unshakable public demeanor. Despite breaking barriers such as becoming one of the first black actresses to secure a regular role on a daytime soap opera, she constantly had to fight to prove her versatility. Furthermore, when Little House on the Prairie finally concluded, she experienced the familiar professional struggle of moving past a highly recognizable long-running role to find consistent acting work in a changing industry. Ketty Lester continued to act in television and film throughout the 1980s and 90s, recording an album of Christian music in 1984 and making memorable guest appearances in films like House Party 3 and the sitcom Getting Personal. She maintained a very private, personal life, away from the Hollywood spotlight, focusing intensely on her deep faith, raising her son William, and cherishing her large, extended family, having grown up as one of 15 children. In 2020, she shared her remarkable life story by publishing her autobiography, Ketty Lester from Arkansas, to Grammy-nominated Love Letters to Little House on the Prairie. As of 2026, at the age of 91, she is alive and residing in Los Angeles, California. Patrick Labyorteaux as Andrew Garvey. Born on July 22, 1965 in Los Angeles, California, Patrick Labyorteaux joined the beloved pioneer drama Little House on the Prairie during its 4th season in 1977. At the age of 12, Labyorteaux's portrayal of Andrew "Andy" Garvey, the earnest, quiet, and sensitive son of the Ingalls' new neighbors, became an endearing fixture of the series. Often sharing the screen with his real-life adoptive brother Matthew, who played his inseparable best friend Albert Ingalls Patrick, brought a relatable and authentic boyhood charm to the show. His performance offered a heartwarming representation of frontier life and childhood friendship that remains a cherished piece of television history. In stark contrast to the idyllic rural pioneer upbringing of his character, Labyorteaux's real-life beginnings were fraught with adversity in the heart of Los Angeles. Born to unknown biological parents, he suffered from severe malnutrition as an infant and was heartbreakingly labeled unadoptable by social workers before being taken in at 9 months old by a Hollywood talent agent and an actress. Professionally, after leaving the series in 1981, Labyorteaux faced the notoriously difficult transition from child star to adult actor. He struggled to shed his wholesome frontier boy image and endured a challenging career lull marked by a lack of substantial parts and sporadic guest appearances. Labyorteaux ultimately overcame his early career hurdles to achieve massive success on television, most notably securing the role of the loyal and good-natured Lieutenant Commander Bud Roberts on the hit military legal drama JAG, which ran for a decade from 1995 to 2005. Off-screen, he built a stable personal life marrying television producer Tina Albanese in 1998, with whom he shares a son, and successfully expanding his career behind the scenes as a creator, writer, and producer for shows like Nickelodeon's See Dad Run. At 60, he remains a respected, versatile presence in the entertainment industry, occasionally reprising his famous JAG character on spin-offs like NCIS and continuing to celebrate his Little House legacy with generations of devoted fans. Merlin Olsen as Jonathan Garvey. Born on September 15, 1940 in Logan, Utah, the former NFL superstar successfully transitioned to acting, bringing the beloved Jonathan Garvey to life on Little House on the Prairie in 1977. At the age of 36, Olsen's portrayal of the fiercely loyal and hard-working farmer became a cultural touchstone, offering a prime-time depiction of frontier resilience and fatherly devotion. His character's deep friendship with Charles Ingalls and his steadfast dedication to his family resonated with audiences, making the gentle giant an iconic and comforting figure in classic family television. Despite his on-screen persona as a rugged, frontier-hardened pioneer and his real-life background as a feared defensive tackle in the NFL's legendary fearsome foursome, Merlin Olsen was inherently intellectual, soft-spoken, and remarkably gentle. This contrast was a significant part of his personal journey. He often found that his massive physical stature overshadowed his quieter nature. His acting career was marked by the struggle of being heavily typecast as the wholesome, gentle giant, or the dependable best friend, which made it exceptionally difficult for him to find diverse or dramatically complex roles. He also experienced the professional sting of network television cancellations. After leaving his supporting role on Little House, his subsequent starring vehicles, such as Father Murphy and Aaron's Way, were canceled after relatively short runs, frustrating his efforts to establish himself as a long-term leading man. Merlin Olsen continued to work prominently as an acclaimed sports broadcaster and as the longtime commercial spokesman for FTD Florists, all while remaining a deeply private family man devoted to his wife Susan and their 3 children. He retired to split his time between Utah and California, dedicating his later years to charitable causes and enjoying his status as both a Pro Football Hall of Famer and a beloved television star. Olsen passed away at a hospital in Duarte, California on March 11, 2010, at the age of 69 from mesothelioma, a rare and aggressive cancer. His death was followed by a notable legal aftermath. His family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against several asbestos manufacturers and television studios, alleging that his fatal illness was caused by asbestos exposure during his early construction jobs and on television sets, a case that was eventually settled out of court. Watching these stars age reminds us of our own journeys. Though many are gone, their performances offer comfort to this day. Which actor's career did you follow after the show? Like and share if this nostalgic trip touched your heart.